This conference will now be recorded.
Are you
This
ready?
conference will now be recorded.
So it is my privilege to call to order the Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting, Monday, April the 7th, beginning here at 5 p.m. So Marie, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Schlechter.
Here.
Mr. Levine.
Here.
Mr. Osterhout.
Here.
Ms. Fuller. Here. Mr. Mallett.
Here. Thank you. So first order of business this evening is to approve the minutes from last meeting. Has everybody had an opportunity to take a look at those?
I have, and I'd like to make a motion to approve last month's minutes.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Marie, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Schlechter.
Yes.
Mr. Levine.
Yes.
Mr. Osterhout.
Yes.
Ms. Coleman.
Abstain.
Mr. Mallett.
Yes.
Thank you. So we have no old business this evening, and since this meeting is a formal hearing, swearing in of individuals is required if anybody's planning on speak. So if anybody is planning on speaking this evening, if you would please stand. If you cannot stand, you can stay seated. And repeat after me. Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Sit down. So you guys can sit down. Thank you. Is the mic on? She says she can't hear. Yeah.
Oh, they are. Yes.
You want to say it again for her?
Okay, so the first item of business this evening is an exception for an addition to a legal non-conforming dwelling for the property located at 5713 Dennison Road, parcel number 78-51487, Sylvania Township, zoning resolution section 1703. In the absence of Daryl, our zoning administrator this evening, I will read the staff report. So the subject property at 5713 Dennison Road consists of an approximate 1 acre parcel on the south side of Dennison in the Hardington plotted subdivision. An 1858 or 1,858 square foot single family dwelling and attached garage, both constructed in 1927, are sited on the front northern half of the lot. The parcel is zoned RA low density residential. Like the subject parcel, single family dwellings, all zoned RA and within the Hardington subdivision, abut on all sides. The existing dwelling on the subject parcel meets the current building setbacks prescribed in section 700 of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution, save one. The front setback is only 25 feet from the public right-of-way of Dennison Road, not 30 feet required in section 700. The Hardington plot was recorded in 1922 and the subject dwelling constructed in 1927. As these were prior to the enactment of the zoning in Sylvania Township in 1956, the property is considered a legal non-conforming record or lot of record. The applicant desires to construct an addition onto the rear of the existing dwelling, figure 4.4. Section 1703 of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution requires that a non-conforming building or structure shall not be enlarged, extended, altered, or moved without approval of the Board of Zoning Appeals. Thus, the applicant is requesting that the Board of Zoning Appeals approve an exception to a non-conforming building. The location of the proposed addition complies with the current setback requirements of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution, and no variances are requested or needed. The staff recommendation. Zoning staff recommends approval of the exception request for an addition to a legal non-conforming dwelling for the property located at 5713 Dennison Road, parcel number 78-51487 for the following two reasons. Reason number one, approval of this exception should not present a negative impact on the public good or neighboring properties or impair the visibility, safety of the traveling public. Reason number two, approval of this exception should not alter the intent of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution. So any questions from the board for Oliver or Dean regarding this request?
No, not on my end.
Is the applicant here this evening or whoever's representing the applicant? Seeing that there is no one here for that. So the only question I had, just for the record, so if you look at this drawing here specifically, if you can scroll down a little bit, Oliver, scroll up, sorry. So there's two 10-foot dimensions on the, I guess it would be the western side of the property line there. If you look at the picture, which you should have in 4.4, if you scroll down, sorry, keep scrolling down. It's not 4.4, but keep scrolling down. Keep going, right there. You can see that the house actually steps there. In the back portion, there's actually two bay windows there, and there's a little bit of a step there. So assuming that the property line is actually being taken from the back portion, which is where the addition's aligning, I don't see any exception to it, but I wanted to make sure that we were not encroaching on that 10-foot setback. And there's no one here to confirm this evening, so.
It looks like the bay window is sticking to it,
Yeah, it looks like that's,
but it's an existing non-conforming.
yeah. Does the board need a deliberative session to discuss? Would someone like to make a motion?
Motion. Make a motion to approve an exception for an addition to a legal non-conforming dwelling for the property located at 5713 Dennison Road, parcel number 78-51487, Savannah Township zoning resolution, section 1703. We want to put,
Yeah, let's put a condition on it that says that it's 10 foot, truly 10 foot off the property line.
with a condition that the actual measurement of the side yard from the bump out and the rear of the property, the rear of the building is actually 10 feet.
I will second.
Marie, can you please call the roll?
Okay. Mr. Schlechter?
Yes.
Mr. Levine?
Yes.
Mr. Osterhout?
Yes.
Ms. Coleman? Yes. Mr. Mack?
Yes.
Okay, that motion does carry and is approved. They will get paperwork here within the next month saying that it's approved, but they are good to go from this point.
Do you want me to spare you seconds that?
I can read it. Sorry.
All right, just want to make sure.
Thank you. So the second item we have on our agenda this evening is a conditional use for an outdoor storage within a C2 district for the property located at 4460 West Alexis Road, parcel number 78-05611, referencing Savannah Township zoning resolution, section 812. Again, since Daryl is not here this evening, I will read the staff report in his absence. Bear with me, there's a lot to read here. The subject property at 4460 West Alexis Road consists of a 3.3 acre parcel on the north side of Alexis, approximately midway between Talmadge and Flanders Road. There are no structures on this site except for a Verizon cell tower along the eastern property line. The front 320 feet from the public right-of-way of Alexis Road of the parcel is Zone C2 commercial, general commercial. The remaining approximate 500 feet to the rear property line is zoned R-A, low-density residential. Other RA zone parcels occupied by single-family dwellings in the Merce subdivision abut the subject parcel to the north and northwest. To the east, within the city of Toledo, single-family dwellings in the Sylvan Ridge subdivision are zoned RS-9. A small office building zoned C2, general commercial, abuts to the southeast on the corner of Alexis and Sylvan Ridge Drive. A former dwelling converted to a daycare is to the south on the opposite side of Alexis. This is also in Toledo and zoned RS-12. On the west side, there are a mix of residential condominiums and single-family dwellings, all within the city of Toledo. The condos are zoned RD-6 and in the Michael, Laurel, and Flanders Hill subdivisions. The single-family dwellings in Flanders Hill subdivision are zoned RS-9. The applicant operates a moving and storage business and would like to provide outdoor storage for vehicles on the approximate center of the commercially zoned portion of the property. While self-storage is a permitted use within the C2 district, Section 600 of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution it dictates outdoor storage as a conditional use. Thus, the applicant is requesting a conditional use for outside storage of the subject parcel. Access to the proposed outdoor storage area would be via Alexis Road with a parking area in front of, but outside the gate of the gated part of the property. The outdoor storage area shall be entirely within the C2 zone portion of the parcel. Per section 1302, subsection D of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution, the proposed use shall meet the required 30-foot setback on the west side for commercial uses abutting residential uses and a 5-foot setback from the abutting commercial property to the east. Section 818 of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution mandates the following points. A, the outdoor storage of the material and equipment in commercial and industrial districts shall be permitted provided the outdoor storage area is effectively screened by walls, privacy screens, or plantings. B, walls or fences shall be 8 feet in height without advertisement. In lieu of such wall or fence, a landscape strip may be installed. The depth of the landscape strip shall consist of evergreen trees, a minimum of 4 feet in height at the time of planting, and dense plantings of shrubs and hedges, a minimum 15 feet in depth. There is currently fencing around the site, but exceeds the 8-foot maximum allowed height. Applicant has indicated the fence height will be reduced. Staff recommendation. Zoning staff recommends approval with conditions of the request for the conditional use for outdoor storage for the property located at 4460 West Alexis Road, parcel number 78-05611, for the following 3 reasons. Reason number 1, the proposed conditional use is consistent and compliant with the Sylvania Township zoning resolution. Number 2, the proposed conditional use is compatible with the recommendation of Sylvania Township Land Use Plan. Number 3, the proposed conditional use would not present a negative or detrimental impact on adjoining properties. Additionally, staff recommends approval of the conditional use request for outside storage on the C2 zone parcel for the property located at 4460 West Alexis Road, parcel number 78-05611, be subject to the following 13 conditions of approval. From the Sylvania Township Planning and Zoning Department, condition number 1, the outdoor storage area and uses therein shall be set back a minimum of 30 feet from the western property line and the abutted residential uses. Condition number 2, the outdoor storage area and uses therein shall be set back a minimum of 5 feet from the eastern property line and the abutting commercial uses. Condition number 3, the outdoor storage area shall be screened by an 8-foot tall privacy fence. Fence height is measured from surface grade. Condition number 4, the outdoor storage area shall be adequately maintained using acceptable measures and safeguards to limit dangerous and/or objectable elements and to prevent noxious vegetation, garbage, refuge, or debris to exist on the lot. Condition number 5, a conditional use permit shall be deemed to authorize only one particular conditional use, and said permit shall automatically expire if such conditional permitted use has not been instituted or utilized within 2 years of the date on which the permit has been issued, or if for any reason such shall cease for more than 2 years. Applicants may submit to the Board of Zoning Appeals a request for an extension every 2 years, commencing 2 years after the date of the initial permit was issued. Condition number 6, the applicant shall require or acquire the necessary permits from Lucas County Engineers Office utilizing LC Express. This shall include stormwater pollution prevention plan, SWIP permit. All drainage must stay on the subject site and not drain into adjoining properties or public right-of-way. from the Sylvania Township Fire and EMS. Condition number 7, the fire department will need to be maintained, the fire department access will need to be maintained to within 150 feet of all portions of the facility. Condition number 8, access road will need to be a minimum of 20 feet wide. Condition number 9, access road will need to support the weight of fire apparatuses and shall be surfaced to provide all-weather driving capabilities. Condition number 10, any dead-end access road in excess of 150 feet in length shall be provided with an approved area for turning around fire apparatus. Number 11, a Knox padlock will be required for the main gate. Condition number 12, no storage will be allowed within 10 feet of the property line. Condition 13, a fire hydrant shall be present within 400 feet of all portions of the facility on a fire apparatus access road as measured by the approved route. At this time, an additional fire hydrant will need to be added to meet this requirement. Lastly, the Board of Zoning Appeals may prescribe any other appropriate conditions and/or safeguards it deems necessary to ensure that this use will be conducted in conformance with the intent and purpose of the Sylvania Township zoning resolution. Okay, so does the board have any questions for the township regarding this?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. Marie, I do have one question. Have we received any feedback, correspondence from anybody regarding this, written or?
No, well, only the one that supplied the pictures.
Okay. So we do have before us some additional pictures that were submitted by Tim. So since it seems like we have quite a few people here that would like to speak this evening, which I appreciate the community participation, I would ask that we try to limit the comments this evening to 3 minutes in the interest of everybody's time. If you do see, or you plan on saying the exact same thing, if you would please just say, I agree with what's been previously said instead of restating the same thing. If you have something additional to add to it, I would ask that you would add that. So I think I had mentioned before the meeting had started that if anybody wants to speak, they need to sign in. So if anybody would like to speak for or against us, if you guys would one at a time, please come up to the podium. Please state your name and your address for the record.
Want to hear from the applicant first?
It's really hard for us to hear you back here.
I don't know what I can do about that. That's not
He's been, good evening.
So, not to interrupt you, but is the applicant here this evening? Would you like to speak first? Okay.
My name is Mark Robinson, and I'm an attorney for some of the property owners.
Can you state your address too, please?
7034 Apple Creek Road in Sylvania, Sleepy Hollow.
Thank you.
And I apologize for not getting my pictures here early. I just got in from Africa. So I'm running on empty tonight, but I have several exhibits I'd like to share with the board if I can.
Sure.
Can I approach?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Exhibit 1, which is due to me this afternoon, is simply a listing of 22 property owners, either on Woodside or Sylvan Ridge, who oppose this particular application. And there's a petition of sorts. I guess the first question I want to address is, this property is for sale through Danbury. And so the property owners have questioned, if it's for sale, it sells tomorrow, the next day, next week, what's the point? And it is troubling because you see all these property owners here. And we disagree with the staff recommendations in 2 points. First of all, we feel it's going to be a very negative impact upon adjoining properties. This is a very nice residential neighborhood, fairly new houses, a mixture of working folks, retirees, and people who live in kind of apartments. And secondly, the zoning department makes note of that the property owners to prevent noxious vegetation. I think why we're here is there's a history that the property owner has not been admitted. And Exhibit 2 is the listing for sale, listed for $999,000 in January. Exhibit 3 is pictures of the pre-pins. The posts were put along these various landowners' houses, and it stayed like this for 2 years. So now we have some conditions for the property, or for the applicant, and he couldn't get a fence up in 2 years. The Exhibit 4 is the asphalt that was put in a few years ago by Gherkin, and they were doing some work, I believe, on Alexis Road. And we question whether there's an EPA issue that needs to be addressed. I know there's a lady here to speak who is an environmental engineer, so I'll let her address that. Exhibit 5 shows one of the backyard fences, and as you can see, this is their land, and it has all the debris from the applicant. And this fence is one of 3 different kinds of fences that certainly today don't comply, and we have our doubts that will comply. If you look at Exhibit 6, it has a fence that isn't finished to the bottom. If you look to the right, it has a different colored fence. And on the bottom picture, you look to the left, it has a metal fence. And the metal fence is probably more appropriate for a junkyard than a nice residential area. Exhibit 7, the fence that was put in is buckling, and you can see a little strap at the bottom to the right. That was to pull the fence back so it didn't fall over into the landowner's yard. And this is what these people have to live with every day. And I guess I would ask, would you want that in your backyard? And Exhibit 7 is 2 pages. And the second one, probably a better indication of this fence that looks like it's ready to fall down. Our Exhibit 8 was taken July 8th of 24. Several, as you can see, automobiles and trailers, they were parked in the residential area, which was not compliance at the time. And again, the homeowners feel that there's going to be non-compliance very soon. And the last Exhibit 9 just shows that this fence, first of all, the height was way too high. The bottom wasn't finished, and the material was metal and not wood. And there's several people that want to speak, but I think those are the highlights of the objections. The weeds behind the houses are as tall as I am, and it's not conducive to a nice residential neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to speak? And then we'll call other people up.
As far as Exhibit 2 goes.
If you could please go to the podium here and state your name and your address. Sign in if you haven't already.
I signed it. Josh Mariucci, 4460 West Alexis Road,
Thank you, Josh.
Ohio. Exhibit 2 is inaccurate. This property is not listed by Danbury. Currently, if it is, that's an error on the evidence part. This Exhibit 3 is taken from over 2 years ago, which the fence has already been finished. And it is within the 8-foot limit that was applied for on the permit. The section where it says exhibit 6, there's only 2 types of fencing. The one neighbor stained it a different color, so it's wood and metal only. There's not 3 different types of fencing there, which is still within the 8-foot limit of the inside parcel. The section where he said exhibit 7, where it's fallen over, has been reinforced with multiple posts and is there as supporting brace until the cement dries. So there's no fence leaning over or attempting to fall on the neighboring property whatsoever. And the cars on exhibit 8 do exceed that picture of the residential area, but have all been moved up front to the commercial area since Dean notified us of that back in 2024. And the only 2 conditions we haven't met are the Knox box and the new one about the fire hydrant. Because there is a fire hydrant 10 feet within the property line across the street. But there was no notice until that was brought up on the fire department that we needed to add a second one.
Do you have,
Questions for the applicant?
yes, so we have these 13 conditions that were laid out there. You mentioned you're in compliance with 11 out of 13. Do you have any issues with the 2 new ones? Do you intend to comply with those? Do you have concerns about those conditions?
We can get the Knox box washed out right away, or the lock, or whatever they want. But the fire hydrant will probably have to get an estimate at least. And comply with Lucas County. Subcontractor can install that. So there is one right across the street within 10 feet of the property line, because we own that annex part of Alexis Road as well. So the one right across the street is only 15 feet away. And the furthest point of the commercial property is the cell phone tower, which is approximately like 250 feet at its farthest point off the property line. So it would fall within that 400-foot parameter.
Okay,
And this property is in dormant state as of 2021, according to Lucas County Engineering. Amanda was the contact. And she said, once the grass grows, the property will go back in a dormant state, and nothing's been touched since.
So is it your intention to fight the new fire hydrant requirement?
No. I'll have to get an estimate to get one installed. I don't know how long, about a time frame, how much it will cost. But if they want a new one on that side of the road within the property lines, then we'd have to get a new one installed. I know from one of the surveys, there's an old capped fire hydrant line, like right on the southeast corner of that property anyways. So we would have to get in touch with a licensed contractor to have them install one.
Any other questions for the applicant?
The intent is to use the remainder of the property right now that's beyond the cell phone tower, all the way to the back?
The residential section?
Yeah,
There is no intent to do, we just cut the grass and cut the weeds down every summer.
there's no intent to use that for,
It's residential. I mean, we could build a house back there. Harold said there's only allowed to be one single structure back there as of right now. So it's kind of just in limbo. If it's allowed to have a single structure back there, we can put one back there.
this is all one plat, one piece, okay.
Minus the annex section of Alexis Road, yeah, it's one whole parcel.
Okay.
It's
But split.
zoning.
Split zoning, that's why, okay, I see.
Do you believe you've maintained the property?
Yeah, for the most part. There's no trash, there's no debris. We operate from 8 to 6. We're not there before, we're not there after. We don't make any noise.
Is your intent to stay there?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant before we take more comments from the
No other questions at this time?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak on this matter?
I'll speak. I'll take my 3 minutes because I don't know as much as she does.
All right, thank you. If you could please state your name and your address.
5834 Woodside Trail.
Thank you, Sue.
So this group here is the condos that are right up against the fence.
Okay.
Okay. Number one, I know you guys want the fence shorter. I like that fence right where it is. I'd like to add another 4 feet to it. Now, I don't know anything about the blacktop, other than it looked like when this whole thing started, that one of those trucks went down Alexis Road and scraped up all the blacktop off the road and came over and kept dumping it there. All right. And this is where my opinions come in, because I'm not an EPA person, but there have been tons of cars, trucks, and God knows what, and all over that stuff. And it got dumped back there and dumped back there. Then the privacy fence went up. But on this, from here towards my house is all this crumbled up garbage blacktop, all right? And when the trees were first taken down, because this was all gorgeous woods before this happened, when the trees were taken down and everything was like folded under and whatever, these weeds went nuts. And when that fence was put up, all those weeds were still on the other side of the privacy fence, which was in our backyard. We tried to kill these things. And the condo association only has so much money for this stuff. And so year after year, we keep on trying to get rid of this, and we're stuck with all this ground up blacktop. We're stuck with all these weeds. The weeds that are on the side of the, there's an empty lot that doesn't have a house or condos on it. Those weeds are all the way up that huge fence, all right? When the wind blows or garbage trucks come through, it gets stuffed with garbage. I go out there, I pull it out. I can't do this forever, all right? We're all retired. Well, I mean, on our side of the street, we're all retired now, across the street. I know you people have. But anyways, we can only do this for so long, all right? And it wasn't like that. I moved in there 10 years ago. Completely quiet, no trash, no weeds, no blacktop. Now it rains, water comes underneath, that privacy fence comes down over all those piles of that garbage ground up blacktop onto the ground where my grandchildren play. I don't like that. I don't know how bad it is for them, but it can't be good for them. And I don't think that we shouldn't be able to use our property because we're afraid to use it. So it's a real mess. I mean, it ruined, it ruined everything. That isn't, it's not like I'm saying, oh, it was terrible, they took down our woods. Well, yeah, if somebody buys the property, they can take down the woods if they want to. But the thing is that then you need to clean up all those weeds. You need to not have all that garbage blacktop in our backyard so that we're afraid to live there. And none of that stuff was ever done. It's just a very, very bad setup. And the other thing, and I don't know where this is coming in, it may have nothing to do with this property whatsoever. But ever since that privacy fence has gone up and there's stuff back there, and I know some of it is like from, I think a funeral home or something, so I know they're very quiet. But the thing is that I'll be sleeping and all of a sudden at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, there's just like crashes. It's like, what is going on over there? What it reminds me of is when I worked at a place where they would come in the middle of the night to empty garbage with one of those big, and just scare the heck out of them. Now that may not be coming from there, but it never happened before the privacy fence was up. And it's so bad and so loud that I wake up and I break out the sweat and I'm like, is somebody breaking through my sliding glass door? Because my sliding glass door is facing that fence. And I'm like, I don't know where this is coming from. I have no clue.
Okay, so we're at 3 minutes. So we're at 3 minutes, thank you. I do have a question for you, just to clarify. So which side of this are you on? Are you on the west or the east side?
The right or left?
I'm over here.
So the west side, that might be the other direction.
Yeah, now that you said, yeah.
Yeah, so you're on the left side.
Yeah, then I don't know. But
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak?
I'll speak next.
If you could please state your name and your address.
My name is Anna Spinelli. My address is 3010 West Central Avenue in Toledo.
Thank you.
But more relevant, my parents' address and the address of the home where I grew up is 4524 Flandersville Court.
Okay.
It's actually the one who moved up on it. There's actually a couple of things I would like to address. First being, I believe this is from the 2024 zoning resolution. It is, yes. The 827, vehicle storage lots. A vehicle storage lot is to provide an extra parking area for a vehicle inventory in a commercial district. Lots are required to receive approval from various review agencies to cruise to Article 10 project plan review. Vehicle storage lots shall meet the following requirements. 1, inoperable, wrecked, or salvaged vehicles may not be parked on the lot. 2, maintenance, repairs, servicing, washing, painting, or other similar activity may not occur on the lot. 3, vehicles shall be parked a minimum of 50 feet from a right-of-way. 4, lot surface shall consist of a hard, dustless material graded for proper drainage and adequately maintained. There's a bunch more, but less than relevant. As they said, I am an environmental engineer. I work specifically with water, wastewater, and stormwater. I've seen this property. Asphalt can absolutely be reused from milling projects. That is not, in my professional opinion, the case for this. I can't tell if there's a specific grading. I haven't been able to find the plans. I used Lucas County Aries to look up the information on the owner, but I wasn't able to find the associated business. So I was not able to find the plans. I was unable to find an environmental impact survey, as there were wetlands back in that wooded area. How do you know? How do I know, you ask? Because I was an idiot 12-year-old who went tromping through the woods. Probably shouldn't have done that because it was private property, but I'm quite sure that I passed the statute of limitations. So, but I'm not sure if that was taken into account. Additionally, although the applicant has mentioned that they will not fire the required fire hydrant, it is also in my professional opinion that it is required based on fire flow modeling, in which I have taken a part. Okay, what else? No, that was pretty much it. Oh, wait, I lied. Sorry. The area in which, the surrounding area, at least on the west side, actually it's all of it, but specifically on the west side, is considered vulnerable for groundwater sources. It contains an unrestrained aquifer, an aquifer that is not restrained on the top side through impermeable rock or other retardant, meaning it is additionally susceptible to pollution. With an unsealed drive, improperly graded, that increases the likelihood that chemicals from simply storage, not even working on anything, just storing them, can end up in the water supply. That includes things like coolant, wiper fluid, oil, etc. In my opinion, this application should be denied. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else like to speak? If you could please state your name and your address.
Mike Spracken, 5869 Silver Ridge.
Mike?
I am the one on the east side with the yard that the 3 different fences are not completed. I know the applicant said they have been. I have a picture taken that I just took before we came here today.
Okay. Could you show us? Do you mind coming up?
I don't approach it.
Okay.
Okay, you have, I'm not real good at voice. That's all there. Then it's empty down here about 4 feet.
Okay.
Then we start the metal.
Okay.
And it's all across my yard. I can also tell you that.
If you could go back to the mic just so we can pick it up.
I'm sorry, man. Excuse me.
Nice, thank you.
After the engineer has spoken, there's a city storm sewer line in my yard that runs across the back. Originally, when the gentleman put his, staked it out for himself, he was about 10, 12 feet into the city, into my yard. Actually, all the properties. Went out and told him, showed him where the sewer line was. And at that point, he moved his stakes back to, and his answer was, why didn't the architect tell me that? Well, last I heard, that would be a surveyor, not an architect. So, and metal again, anywhere from a foot to 2 feet showing at the bottom. But my yard is the worst, and he did shore up part of it because it was tilted like this. Now the one end near the metal is starting to tilt a little bit. Again, there's nothing underneath it, the wind's taking it and moving the top. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
I had a hip about a week ago, so I apologize. Yeah. I should say. My name is Sue Kester. I live at 5814 Woodside Trail, so I have the first 4 condos with the light tan roofs on the diagram there. Several issues that I have is our property line from our deck steps, we own 17 feet behind us. I thought at first when he put the fence back another 4 feet, he was doing me a favor so I could make my gardens beautiful again. But I too am having the asphalt issue coming down, and then we have the drainage issue. My other concern is in that proposal with this 13 handicap required, you said that the vehicles had to be parked either 30 feet or 5 feet from the fence, depending on what side you're on. 17 feet from my bedroom window is the fence, and there's cars butted right up to the fence. So I don't think we're at the 30 or the 5 past the fence or whatever it's supposed to be. My other concern, I've been pretty vocal with Daryl over the last few years as this took place. And when that crushed asphalt came in, Daryl made it clear that that was not allowed to be in there. He couldn't have vehicles and trucks riding on that. And it just continued to come in, and since then it's now used perpetually for everything that's stored there. My concern now with the cars, the boats, and the RVs, and whatever else is stored back there is that's a porous surface. And again, like the gal said, if the chemicals are coming through there, I'm not so worried about me at age 70, but what happens to the next generation when that stuff's flowing down in there. I'm a longtime Sylvania person. I remember the issue with the King Road dump when they wanted to clean that out for residential use. The back area where it's supposed to be greenery and he mows it, it looks like a tsunami. That's where it was a beautiful tree lot, and that's where everything was pushed back. So I don't know how you could mow it. I don't even know how you could weed whack it. There's that much debris back there of trees and things. The other thing too is there's a box truck that is not ODOT currently certified, so I don't know if it's a junk vehicle or if it's part of the just storage unit. I know the ODOT number is expired. It sits about 3 feet over the top of the fence. So when I sit in my living room, 17 feet out, I see a box truck sitting at least 3 feet over the top of that fence. We were the first part of the fence to go up, and already it's not a very expensive fence. It's just a stockade fence. The stain, I don't know if his gun ran out of stain or what, but the stain's coming off already. I don't see a lot of maintenance that's going to go into that fence, and the life expectancy is probably a few years with a wood fence. The greenery that was suggested, if you drive by on Alexis Road, there is no greenery. I've had to ask him to cut the grass multiple times just to keep that small area clean. And also, I'm concerned he had a tanker truck that was renting space parked in the front ahead of the storage unit bins, and that was flammable liquid. And I approached the gentleman after the fire marshal tried to get involved and could never find him. We finally got that truck out of there. But these are flammable materials that are in those cars. There's a daycare center right across the street, let alone us residential people that do grandkids that come and visit us. And my other concern is, why wasn't the crushed asphalt ever addressed as it was put down? We now have, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet of crushed asphalt, and the second set of 4 condos have since cleared out, and now the drainage, like the lady said, is just coming down, and there's water that pools there, so you know what's gonna come next, are the mosquitoes and the bugs. And Woodside Trail's kind of that forgotten street, because we're half township and we're half city services and that, so nobody's gonna come spray frog, you know. So those are some of my concerns. I don't think it's a safe environment to have in such a nice residential area. I can't imagine with the new growth on the west side of town that you'd allow something like that to sit next to Monarch subdivision or some of those other subdivisions on the other side of town. So those are my concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak? Could please state your name and your address for the record?
I'm Tim Marotta. I live at 5853 Sylvan Ridge Drive. This was supposed to happen initially. Maybe some of you remember it. It's entirely different than what is portrayed now. Right now, this place is an obnoxious mess. He does willy-nilly whatever he wants to do. Are there no guardrails for this guy? And I firmly believe if Dean Boyers was here, he might have a different opinion about this subject. I'm not quite sure he'd agree with that. I'm not saying he hasn't done it, but I'm not so sure he could do a lot better job. I've lived in this area for 38 years. I lived at 5848 Woodside Trail for 31 and a half years. I like the area so much, I literally went down Woodside Trail, went down Alexis, and moved to 5853 Sylvan Ridge. I see my old house every day. And what I have seen is just a mess. And I'm sick of it. So I firmly would ask this panel not to do this. Also on an EPA thing. Because if this thing is such a mess, this will come down the road and liable to bite some people. So, and to clean it up would be an unbelievable amount of money. So that's my take on this.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else?
May I add one thing without walking up there? My only other thought is when the gentleman said that it's a 8 to 6 business or 8 to 5 or whatever, there's an unusually high amount of car carriers that come down Alexis Road for deposit cars, 7:30. It seems like it's always after an office is closed. It doesn't happen during, I mean, it does happen during business hours, but it happens a lot after business hours, which leads me to believe, what's he bringing in? You know, are they drivable or are they junk? I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Please state your name and your address for the
My
record.
name is Chris Spinelli. My address is 4524 Flanders Hill Court. I'm from PDOT. So, heard an awful lot of things. And one of the things is if a business is a good neighbor, I'm fine. I believe business is important and I believe business is necessary for tax and growth. Not if you're a bad neighbor. And unfortunately, this property owner has been a bad neighbor. He has parked vehicles that are not appropriate near daycare facilities. He has not been a good steward of our environment. He has not been easily approachable. He has been combative when we have asked him to do things like please don't park tanker trucks within 20 feet of little old ladies. He has been doing things that are not appropriate. I'm not going to say the word illegal because those have different ramifications. His property was placed for sale 2 months ago. When he was asked by Ms. Kuhlman, is it your intention to place the fire hydrant? He said he was going to do a study and get an estimate, but I never once heard him say yes, he was going to do that. And unfortunately, this dissemblance is not unique for this individual. If I could trust him, I'd say great. But unfortunately, through his actions time and time and time again, he has been shown to be an untrustworthy individual. I would ask you, please, do not grant this petition. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak? Any questions from any of the board members to anybody that's spoken publicly? Sure.
Just 3 minutes. Property has a professional survey.
If you'd say your name again, just so.
Josh Mariucci, 4460 West Alexis, Toledo, Ohio. The property has a professional survey. The boundary survey was conducted. All the fencing is within 10 to 15 feet inside of the property line. If any of the asphalt has stuck under the fence, we will get it cleaned up. The properties abutting on the west side, the first set of condos, right here to right here, these people, their vegetation has been growing over into our property, infringing on that since 2017. As of last month, this last condo is the only one to clean it up within the last 6 years, 7 years. And as far as Mr. Tim goes, him and his grandson, or whoever it was that day, were out hitting golf balls from his backyard into our lot. And we had a confrontation. That's the only reason any one of these people here today have ever approached us. Nobody has ever came in and said anything, not a word. The tanker truck is no longer parked there. We are unaware of the 500-foot fire department ICC regulation. And when Ms. Coleman asked me if I was going to do the fire hydrant, I said, yes, we were going to get an estimate and get one installed. So I'm not disputing any of that. We already agreed that we were going to get an estimate and get one installed. So all that obnoxious vegetation has been growing over. People have been dumping stuff back there. It was an overgrown wooded lot where people would just dump stuff on a regular basis. So we went back there and cut it down and cleaned it up.
So a couple questions for you. How long have you been in business?
20 years.
20 years. And what exactly does your business do?
Moving and storage.
Moving and storage. Just on this site, or is it someplace else?
No, this is our main location.
So you have other locations?
I mean, we use other storage yards that are already existing, like we're across town, but this is our own personal storage lot.
Okay.
Like for our business.
And you're registered as a business?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Seems Oliver's.
Oliver?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to know that there's one person who's in attendance who would like to speak and would need to sign in to do so. Just.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would that person like to step forward and speak?
How do I just sign in and out? You all get these later.
Can I ask a question?
If you would step up to the podium, please.
Well, I already have my 3 minutes.
We'll give you 30 seconds.
If you're focused on that.
If you could say your name and your address. She just did.
So, but I have a question for you. So, when you're talking about the privacy fence being here and all that Chromebook laptop on the side being the backyard of our condos, you're saying that that's your property?
Correct.
You moved your fence in. Okay. So if that is your property, then why are we supposed to be cleaning up all the weeds from your property? And how could our weeds that are on your property be infringing in the opposite side of your property? That was one of the major problems in the first place, was that our yards never looked like that. I've been like there for 10 years. And he hasn't been there for 20 years, at least not parking cars and doing whatever. He hasn't owned the property for 20 years. So I don't know where he was in business, but it wasn't in my backyard. But the thing is that if that's your property, you need to clean it up, because the condo association is spending all the money they have to keep cleaning this up, and it keeps coming back. And it's not even their property. I mean, isn't that what was just said? And when you're carrying on about this whole blacktop, you're saying you're gonna clean up that blacktop now? Like you're gonna get rid of it? Like you're gonna get it out of our backyard? Or it stays there because that's your property?
We can remove it.
Okay, because if.
And that obnoxious vegetation starts in your pine trees that are all right there.
No, it won't.
Hey, guys,
No,
guys,
it
we're
doesn't.
not going to argue back and forth. So do you have anything further to say?
So, well, my last question is to the board or whatever. So if the EPA tested the water coming through and it's poisonous, cancer causing whatever, who's going to clean that all up? Could we just have to live there until everybody gets leukemia? I mean, my husband died of leukemia, so I know what it's like. So I really, this is really like the least of my problems as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you. Would you like to step forward and speak?
You can go.
If you'd state your name, your address.
Look up somebody's name.
My name is Corey Boyd. I'm at 5837 Sylvan Ridge Drive. I'm a licensed nurse. I'm a licensed minister, and I have a beautiful, beautiful family. The most beautiful 6-year-old girl and the most handsome, spoiled little 3-year-old boy. So I guess I come from a little different perspective than a lot of us here today. Speaking from the perspective of a young family, several concerns that I've heard today that I haven't even considered. And I can speak personally, and I have evidence that I was cleaning up last 2 summers ago, trying to get some of the shrubbery off of our property line. I contracted poison ivy, and if anybody's had poison ivy, it's not any fun. And so there was, we had as a father, concern of my children somehow getting out of our fence line, getting back there. It was a eye-opening situation for me. We actually, myself, a couple of the neighbors invested our own money. I know I spent $5,000 between a couple of fences that I personally put in a privacy fence on my property just to try to block out some of the cars and some storage stuff we saw there. So many of us here have personal investment in and some physical investment in feeling these results. So, as a father, as a citizen, I would ask that you consider to deny this. And I also want to say I am reminded, and I'm thankful for the power of the voice that a community has. I've never been a part of one of these forums, and this has given me hope that, us little guys still have a voice around here. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything to add that has not been previously said?
Yes, I do.
You would step up to the mic, please state your name and your address.
I live at 5840 Sylvan Ridge.
Okay.
And I just want to make it a point to say that I have called the city of Savannah on several occasions about the concerns of that property. The commissioner called me back. I can't remember his name. Tim, do you remember his name?
Who's that?
The guy that we called?
Dean Boyer.
That I have called his office at least 10 times within the last 2 years about concerns. And he was so kind to always call me back and apologize to me. He said they have broached the subject with the owner of the property and it was getting no results. So you could check with him to find out any further information, but I know that I've called in the last 2 years at least 10 times.
Okay. Thank you.
And did you get his name?
I couldn't remember it. I was trying to look it up on my phone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Dean, would you like to say anything?
I guess we can speak now or go back into executive session and discuss this a little bit further tonight. She is correct, we have had multiple zoning violations on this property over the years, some of which have been corrected, others have not. It has been an ongoing issue, and I'd again like the opportunity to discuss it with you guys a little bit further.
Sure. Okay. Well, I was going to suggest that, as a board, let's take a deliberative session, discuss this, and we'll be back. So we're going to adjourn here at 6 o'clock. Recess. Recess. Thank you. Good. So it is 6:44 and we are now returning from recess. So after further conversation, we are going to postpone a decision on this and recess until next month. In addition to that, we are also closing public comment on this topic. So we will come back and discuss this at the next meeting here in, would be what, May? May.
Do we have the date for that?
Yeah, it should be the 5th. May 5th at 5 PM as well. So can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting this evening?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Marie, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Schlechter,
Yes.
Mr. Levine,
Yes.
Mr. Ossoff,
Yes.
Ms. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Is this Tim's last meeting?
We are adjourned at 6:45. Yes, it is.